Hi there. Let us try to briefly understand what went wrong in Bangladesh, how it is creating a sense of tension and a sense of problem for India. At the same time, how a student movement, which was supposed to be fighting against the reservation policy or against the government, how it became the pawn of foreign entities and also fundamental elements. And in turn, now it is trying to attack all the religious minorities, including Hindus, Christians, Buddhists, and trying to attack and destroy their religious identities like temples. They are snatching away their properties. They are trying to molest the women, killing the Hindu minorities in the Bangladesh. And surprisingly, no international fraternity is speaking against this. On one hand, it is a regional crisis. On the other hand, it's a border issue. And on the third front, which is very important, the Hindus of Bangladesh, they do not have any other country. They're trying to, looking up to India to seek some helping hand. Many of the Hindus who are fleeing Bangladesh, trying to flee Bangladesh, or escaping the atrocities done by these fundamental elements, radicals, in the name of protest, are trying to come to the India's border. Lakhs of people are trying to seek the help from India, and they're looking up to India. This is one part. How the student protest turned into a radical fanatism, that is another part. The third part is how the media remains biased and how the international fraternity remains biased. If there used to be any atrocity on any other religious communities, the whole world would have spoken against it. For example, if anything is happening in Gaza, whole Muslim world will speak for it. US, West, Indian Muslims will also speak for it. Similarly, if anything happens to a Christian person, an individual Christian person, whole of the Western media, Western world will speak out in loud and they'll say, oh, there has been some attack on them. But en masse attack has been going on in Bangladesh against the real religious minorities, especially Hindus. Already, more than 300 people from the Awami League and many other Hindus are being persecuted in the daylight. There have been cold blooded murders, but nobody is speaking about it. New York Times, on the other hand, mocks it has it the killing of Hindus as the revenge attacks. What sort of nonsensical journalism it can do? The Hindu covers everything. The newspaper, tries to cover everything which is related to Gaza, which is related to Palestine and everything. It tries to cover the statements given by the ambassadors of Gaza. But when nobody speaks, there was one country, one ambassador, the Israeli ambassador who spoke in the first place, Noir Gilon, who spoke in the first place for the lives, livelihood, and safety, or he raised his concerns against the atrocities committed against the minorities in Bangladesh, that is the Hindus. At least no other country have done this or shown this courage, but Israel had this courage to do this. At least being the Hindu, the neutral newspaper, this statement was given one day ago. Today is August 8th. It was given on August 7th. Look at the Hindu newspaper. They have not covered any of the statements of Noir Gillon, let alone on any of the issues, but even on the Bangladeshi Hindus, because for the Hindu is the last word, or it is the last concern. They are going to give the least space to. Look at the journalism they are doing, the hypocritical and biased journalism they are trying to do. And we say that, oh, these neutral media and these are the secular medias. These secularism works only when they are pseudos. If they are speaking for Gaza, that is well and good. But why they are not speaking for the Hindus of Bangladesh? Do they also think like insensitive New York Times, which states that the violence against the Hindus is kind of a revenge attack. This is total nonsense which we are seeing today. Let us try to understand. All this started against the anti-reservation protest which was brought by this reservation policy was there since the liberation of Bangladesh. That the people belonging to who fought against the Pakistan for the liberation of Bangladesh, they were given the reservation in the first place. First generation done. Now that was extended to second generation. Then it was also extended to the third generation. Now people got angry. They started saying, okay, first generation is fine, second generation to an extent it is fine. Why you are trying to extend it to third generation? We want reforms in the quota reservation system. You're only filling up your family members or your relatives into the bureaucracy. We disagree with this. They went to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court said nothing doing, this is wrong. So Sheikh Hasina government, Awami League is the party of Sheikh Hasina. That government took a stand and they said that okay, we will scrap all the reservation right away. But these people wanted some sort of reformation. They wanted some, unprivileged classes to be given reservation. Okay, that was the protest. That's how it started. But Sheikh Hasina said, I'm going to stop it. Along with this anti-reservation policy, they had also some other issues like you are curbing the media, you are doing some sort of autocratic role, etc., etc. For now, let us try to understand this was the whole movement, and for the period of time when Sheikh Hasina did not get the support of army, so she decided to flee to India. Now the protest would have been stopped, but that protest, the original intent was something else. Now, when there is no sitting prime minister and military is unable to control or it is having the nexus with the protesters because it has been guided or helped by the foreign countries. It may be US, it may be China. It is very clear when Sheikh Hasina used to be there with the stable government, it used to remain friendly with India, which was not liked by China. Therefore, certainly China used to play its hand in the crisis of Bangladesh. That's how whole the crisis started. But then as soon as Sheikh Hasina flee to India with a safe passage, now the protesters started attacking the members of Awami League. Gradually, the members of Awami League or as a party, it will dissipate. Their next target was looking for the Hindus, religious minorities who are non-Muslims. What sort of humanity teaches this? What sort of religion teaches this to do? And this is truly concerning and shocking. This is unacceptable to the core. And this was the same situation which happened in Afghanistan, which also happened in Lebanon. So there is a pattern to this. And most of the mobs, they do not seem to be a students, educated fellows. They do not seem to be seculars. Rather, they are uneducated fanatics and trying to attack the women. I remember a book written by Taslima Nasreen, and the book name was Lajja, in which almost in every page you will find that Bangladeshi Muslims trying to attack the Hindu temples, religious symbols of Hindus, trying to molest and persecute women, children, all the Hindus. That was also the time. Now it is repeating again when there is no stable government. During the Sheikh Hasina government, at least there was some sort of law and order. So there was some hope for the citizens of Bangladesh. But when there is no strong government or leadership or the party itself is not there and they are trying to propel Yunus Khan as the interim head of the government. During this time, protesters have taken law into their hands. The mobocracy has taken its roots and all sorts of radicalism, fanaticism, some sort of jihad has been established on the Hindus. This is very shocking. This is what has been reported across the media and what has been understood by the global fraternity as far as this is concerned. This is very much shocking, very much truly unhealthy. And we don't know how far they are going to do this or continue this, and what sort of mindset they have. They want to, eliminate all the Hindus or what? That is a big question we need to ask. Again, there was one more thing for India, that India is giving so much of grants, line of credits. Then we had very good trade and connectivity conditions, situations, corridors. We were also trying to build BBIN corridor, free trade agreements. We were selling, I mean, exporting highest quantity of cotton to the Bangladesh. Bangladesh was one of the textile hub. We had also recently given 8 billion of line of credit for the infra and other projects. For Bangladesh, after China, India was the second largest trade partner. All these things are happening along with security challenge, along with the concern for Hindus. Because if there was any attack on the Muslims of Bangladesh by any other community, whole of Muslim world, whole of global fraternity, whole of media would have cried foul by stating, "Oh my God, this is unacceptable. This is not going to happen. This should not have, never have happened," and whatnot. See, attack on anybody should never happen. That should be understood in the first place. But the selective criticism and the selective reporting is the most scoundrelous act that can be committed by any media. Now, this is very shocking. And also, if any governments are not taking this stand, any ambassadors are not taking this stand, that only shows their double standards and hypocrisy in this regard. Now, this is what has been shown to the Hindus of Bangladesh, that nobody is standing with you apart from some micro minority Hindus of India who are just putting some status on the WhatsApp or showing their solidarity on social media. But it is the government which should act at this grave time. I don't know how it is going to, you know, pressurize the Bangla military or the interim government to bring normalcy, because on one hand attacks are going on the other hand trade, connectivity, now the railway lines all been cut, and now India has asked all their embassy members to shift back to India immediately because they see that growing threat. They believe that Bangladesh has fallen. Now this strong country, if it is falling, the neighborhood first policy of India is being threatened. Now the situation is very worse and tensed, that India has to take a toll of its security, needs to check any illegal people are trying to enter the India. But at the same time, India has the moral responsibility to provide some shelter to the Bangladesh Hindus, whether within Bangladesh, inside India, or somewhere outside India as well. That they need to have a proper plan to provide them the proper shelter. Otherwise, they won't have any other place to go. India, with lack of its immigration policy, many of the illegal immigrants had entered India, Rohingya Muslims, during the crisis in the Myanmar. But till date, very few people have been sent back, or very few people have been, recognized. Most of the illegal Rohingyas are still around us, staying, and for them, India becomes the home. Why India do not become the home to those minority Hindus, even when India has a stated policy of CAA, Constitution Citizenship Amendment Act 2019, which states the cutoff date was 2014. Now the cutoff date can be amended, because in most places in Assam and elsewhere, when there was a question was raised on NRC, National Registry, Citizenship Registry, it was always told down by saying that cutoff date should not be 1971. The date should be more, because to provide shelter to those Bangladeshi Muslims who had entered India during 1971 crisis. Today, they are being persecuted and they have no other place to go. They don't have any Hindu world. See, we say no in the media and elsewhere or in the popular parlance, we have Christian world, we have Muslim world. Where is the Hindu world? Where is a safe place for Hindus who are seeking, trying to safeguard their lives? Anyhow, so this is the situation. India must take a stand, and of course, there is a Panchashil which was drafted by Nehru, which states, no interference in the neighbors or any other affairs. But it was always broken by Indira Gandhi, for example, which was necessity during 1971, which was also broken by Rajiv Gandhi in Sri Lanka case, which was also necessity because safety and security of Tamilians then there, and also the safety regional stability of India, 1971, and also during the LTTE crisis of Sri Lanka. Now the time or history has repeated again. Government has to take a bold step and ensure that the people minorities in the Bangladesh are safeguarded, and also there is no regional or security threat to India from this crisis. We can't help what is happening in Bangladesh, but we can always ensure that there is no problem for India from them. So then these are the things, and big question is BNP party. Now BNP party, which is said to be with the protesters, Bangladesh National Party, and which is also against the Awami League of Sheikh Hasina. Sheikh Hasina is the daughter of Mujibur Rahman, who was the founding father of 1971 Bangladesh. Now the thing is very clear. Bangladesh is trying to show its face that we were erstwhile part and parcel of Pakistan. What our father is doing, we are also trying to repeat the same thing with religious minorities. What Bangladeshi cricketer who represented its own country, even his home was attacked, he was attacked. What sort of nationalism can we expect from these fanatics, radicals who only believe in killing of diversity or destroying the diversity? Temples, women, children, all being attacked, which is not a good sign for any country. And again, what was there? What was left of by the Pakistan, East Pakistan? Now, that time frame from 1971 to 2024, there was some pause. Now, Bangladesh has got back to 1971 status with the actions and all sorts of radicalism or violence it is trying to do, which is unacceptable, and it must be condemned by every individual within India, within Bangladesh, or across the world. But all the countries are selective. Now, people ask why we should stand with Israel at times. We are also the strategic partner. When there was Kargil war, Israel was the first country to provide us the arms and amenities. A friend in need is friend indeed. Also, this time Israeli ambassador or Israel as a country is the only country which is outspoken in favor of Hindus. No other country has spoken. Now, Nor Gilon, the Israeli ambassador to India, has said that I'm troubled by the reports of atrocities against minorities, including Hindus, and against their temples in Bangladesh. This is the big statement. This is the big statement because when the people fear to speak out their mind, and when they think that if we speak, some other people will get offended because their relatives are in Bangladesh. Their religious friends, brotherhood is in the Bangladesh. Whereas the people, those who are supposed to speak, they think that those Bangladeshi Hindus do not belong to us. Remember, 1905, for the first time, Bangla was divided, and it was mainly on the basis of religion. Curzon divided it, and that's how the Banga Banga protest was started by Tagore, nationalists, all those Lal Bal Pal, and whole India tried to participate and protested against the division of Bangladesh in division of Bangla in 1905. In 1911, Britishers felt that okay, this is not working. Indians are going against us. Then they said, oh, we will join the Bangla. But however, that was the first time and that was the seed for partition. And that's how the religious majority portions were divided by the Britishers since 1905. Later on led to religious partition of India on the lines of religion, remember. So Pakistan said that part is mine and most Muslims reside here, therefore we also need separate Bangladesh or East Pakistan. That's how the country was formed. But those who were staying there at that point of time, government would have not, welcomed them. What happened during the partition? Many religious minorities were also persecuted, attacked, their lands were snatched away in the Pakistan. Similar thing had happened in East Bangladesh and most of them got unnoticed. So at least Israel's ambassador is speaking for Bangla Hindus. Only few newspapers, portals are reporting this. How reported this? What about the Hindu, which says that that is the flag bearer of communism and secularism? Where is the news report in the Hindu? This is selective journalism. This is hypocrisy. This is double standards. This is called as kind of a paid media. It has all the courage and audacity and all the requirement to publish what has been said by Iranian ambassador regarding Gaza, that it is trying to pressurize India. But what has been said by Israeli ambassador to India has been not reported by the Hindu. Okay. Now there is one more newspaper, one more portal, that is the great New York Times, most insensitive, uncultured, brutal, hegemonistic, and always biased. Whenever there used to be a space, you will see that how it used to mock Indian space. Indian space, they used to mock us whenever we used to launch. See, this is how they used to mock us. Elite Space Club and Indians are trying to, with Bullock, trying to knock the door of Space Club. That's how they used to mock us because they have that tendency or superiority complex and to show India or any other third world country as inferior countries. That is their mindset. So, similarly, apart from Christians and Muslims, for them, they never consider anybody as human beings. So, that's how the New York Times says the attack on Hindus is the revenge attack. What sort of revenge attack? Whether Hindus were majority any day in the Bangladesh, whether they had the government in their control, whether they had the military in their control, whether they had the police in their control, whether the society was their control, whether they were the landlords. For everything, the answer will be no. Then how can it be revenge? If the Hindus have not committed any atrocities on Muslims, then how can New York Times insensitively, hypocritically call that attack on Hindus as revenge attack? This is called as the selective journalism. This is called as nonsensical journalism. Anyhow, this is what I wanted to say. Three things: that Bangla crisis is also a beacon for India to understand the regional crisis kind of a situation, or to ensure that there is a regional stability. At the same time, the onus is on the Indian government to establish peace and safeguard the minorities in the Bangladesh. Now, what are the political reasons for which the protest started? That is different, but how it has galloped and become into a sectarian or kind of a religious fanatical protest is a cause of concern, because any country tomorrow with the same radical mindset may fall, and all that efforts which were made for years together, for decades together, will go in vain. This is one of the major concerns which every country needs to understand. And thirdly, how the journalism works, how the selective journalism is dangerous for the humanity. Spineless and most dangerous, most callous, because these are the people who try to mislead and mislead. By not showing the fate of Hindus in Bangladesh, these media frenzy people are trying to appease some community. But if anything would have happened in Bangladesh, any Muslim would have been attacked. The Muslims in India stating that the Muslim brother would have been attacked. They used to come on the streets and media used to glorify that. Similar thing had happened when Rohingyas were attacked. Indian Muslims went on to the grounds, protested, created burn kind of a situation in India. And that was highlighted by Indian media and global media, stating that there has been attacks on Muslims. If any of the Christian missionary who tries to enter some of the tribal regions which are protected, and when they try to attack the outsiders, whole global media, Indian media will highlight, oh my God, when Christian has been killed, any death is a bad death. Any death should not be glorified. Any death by anybody should not be defended. But the selective obsession or selective observations by selective media is a danger to any sort of humanity. It is also danger to anywhere, and which should be unacceptable. And at the same time, people should be cautious even in this 21st century. And when there is active usage of social media, people should name and shame such kind of a behavior, and there must be a change in the patterns how they used to pursue and try to fool the people. Now the things are changing and they need to change with the time. If not, people need to reject such kind of attitude by those journalistic fraternity or the media houses, which is cause of concern because they are the opinion makers. They bring about opinions and narratives among the people. If they do not publish what's going on in Bangladesh, just by highlighting the protest in one corner, it will be injustice to their own profession. Hope this discussion was useful. Thank you for joining with me. Also, we must pray, and we should seek the help of Government of India, UN, Human Rights Commission, Western so-called protectors of rights, liberties, democratic principles, secularism values, all those countries to safeguard the minorities in Bangladesh. It has to happen in the first place. And also, let us hope that the influence of Pakistan, the influence of China, influence of some Western, agenda-driven country, to not to harm the basic fabric or basic, Atma, soul of Bangladesh, and thereby let all the wickedness, all the cruelty, all the demonic radicalism be rotten out, and the goodness of Bangladesh be established, and there should be a peace and stability sooner the possible. It is also in the good aspect of Bangladesh, and also it will be good for India and also for whole of regional and global humanistic necessity. Thank you for joining with me. This is Shreyanka Saranade. Dhanyavad. Jai Hind. Namaste.